Hey y'all, all right, as you can see, here's the dash on the Dodge Ram 3500, big booty Trudy, and I'm going to, basically I'm going to be pulling it out because I cannot get the air to come out of these vents. That's why there's these things up here, okay? The AC comes out right up here, and I made these out of paper plates to get the air to come back, to direct it at least somewhat from the windshield. Works okay, but I want to get these fixed. So I'm going to pull this dash out, get this all pulled out, and get this to where we can get that blend door to work. Inside here, okay, yeah, undid the hood. Under the hood here, there is a vacuum hose. Let me show you. But it's just right here somewhere. Yeah, it's right there. I've got it capped off with some electrical tape. It did go in here, in this. There's a, see that area there where the AC lines go in? There's foam rubber surrounding that, and it went in there. But whenever we got the truck, this thing was like chewed up. This line was chewed up on the end. I think that is what supplies vacuum to like a vacuum actuator in there. So I've got to take the dash apart and get it out. And that's what I'm going to do. So if y'all want to stick around for this, I'm probably going to do this in maybe 2 or 3 parts or something like that. So I'm going to show you the really difficult parts and the technical parts, but essentially there's like a series. You see that screw down there, and there's a series of them all the way across the top of the dash, and then there's like a, yeah, there's a bolt right here. Yep, I can't get my camera focused on it. There's a bolt right there, though, trust me. And there's one on the other side. And then there's, I think, some brackets. There's a bracket right here underneath this. They all got to come apart. This panel's got to come off. I think I got to drop the steering column, too. So, a little bit of a job, but I'm going to get it done. All right. I'm going to go grab some tools and get started. Be right back in just a minute. Hey y'all, we're back. Let me just go ahead and interrupt things here for just a minute. Say thank you so much for the likes and shares and the subscribes. We're now over 2,480 subscribers. It's just amazing. It's just like blows my mind when I think about how far this channel's came, and I really do appreciate that. Okay. Back to this, though. As you can see, I've got this panel off. I was going to start pulling the dash out, and then I thought, wait a minute, let's look in the book over there. And I got the book out, and guess what? It doesn't tell you anything about how the vacuum gets up here to the control panel. So basically, your vacuum comes in, gets distributed out by which position you've got this in, okay? And I've been chasing down the colors of the hoses or lines, and I've determined that you've got there's like black, yellow, green, and brown hoses that run up there to the that switch mechanism. Now this yellow one that is disconnected right now, this one, that is my culprit, because this pod, this vacuum pod here, this actuator is what controls the door that sends the air from, see, like when it is like this, air is coming out here, down here at the floor, and at the windshield. But when I pull it all the way down, I can pull this all the way down. Like, well, you can't hardly see it when my hand's in there, but it's hard to see, I know. But when I push it down all the way like that, air comes out of the vents up here. Okay, that's good. Problem is, there's no vacuum to actuate that or to move that. Now you notice there's a little black rubber hose on that actuator. Okay, I had the hose hooked up to my little vacuum pump here, and let me back this up, and that moved the actuator and it held vacuum. So that tells me we're in good shape here. The actuator's good, and I even had the engine running and tried to see if there was vacuum here on the yellow line, yellow tube hose right there. There's nothing. Absolutely no vacuum on that at all. So that line or tube I showed you earlier, that vacuum line I showed you earlier, I think that is my culprit. I think what I'm going to have to do, instead of like pulling this dash completely out, even though it's not a tremendously hard job, I think and I'm not very far away from, like, you know, completely pulling it out, but which I may do it, you know, give me a chance to maybe do some cleaning behind the dash. But I may just see if I can run that, connect to that vacuum line out there under the hood, and then run it in here inside and see if that, but I need to see there's two, these two, they run behind the heater air conditioning box, and I don't see nothing over there that they go to. These just carry vacuum. Now one of those is probably the supply for that switch assembly up there. Okay, so I may wind up pulling the dash out anyway and just set it, because I mean, I'm not very far, like I said before, I'm not very far away from like just completely pulling it out and setting it out here. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna probably set this dash down and show you all a little bit more in just a minute. Be right back. Okay, y'all, let me give you a little update. I tried pulling the dash out, but all I did was wind up, cracking it, and just, I'm not comfortable with that. So, yeah, not happy with that little result, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, now, so, time to break out the super glue in there. All right, so I had to come up with a different plan. Now, you'll notice this right here is running over here to that place back in here that the AC lines go through. So instead of like drilling another hole in the firewall, which I was kind of close to doing, let me show you what I did. Okay, you can see where I'm shining my light on. I've got that plastic line running through there. This is actually what that is, what this line here is. This is actually some leftover plastic line for like air shocks, which very close to the same size as what went in there to begin with. So what I have to do now, I've got this line right here. This one, you know, it's part of this assembly right here. Now that one has got vacuum on it when the engine's running, but then I can also come up here and tee off of this, and there's also vacuum on this. But I think this is a one-way check valve for vacuum. I'm not sure. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cap this off again back here. This guy. I'm going to cap that off again. I'm going to come up here, and if I can, I'm going to tee into this. And I'm going to have this vacuum line just running up here. Probably just run it behind the... Maybe just run it behind the wires here. Plug wires. Yeah, something like that maybe. Anyway, what I did to get that in there was I used that dipstick. This is a old engine oil dipstick. It's probably from a 318 or something. And I just fed it down into that place back there where my AC lines go through the firewall. I fed it into there, and sorry about that. I'm trying to get you some light on there so you can see what I'm doing. So anyway, I fed that in there, and I just kept pushing it down in there, and I made it go all the way down the firewall, and then okay. Anyway, like I was saying, I just pushed the dipstick down through there, and it came out down there at the floorboard, and when it did, I noticed it was right here. Now see, there's my plastic line, the other end of it. See, right there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to run it this way. And if I don't have enough line to make it all the way over there to the vacuum pod, that's fine. I've got some vacuum hose I can hook onto that. I think that will work out just fine. Now, yeah, so the dipstick was coming out and sticking out down through here. So what I did was I pulled the dipstick back out, because I tried to pull that line from inside the cab back this way, but it wouldn't work that way. So what I had to do was I had to tape it to, you'll see some tape on the end right there. I had to tape it to the dipstick and feed it down through there. And once I got it down in there, there you go. Okay, so now you can probably try that with like regular vacuum hose, but I'm going to say that probably vacuum hose might be a little harder to do because of its larger diameter. And not only that, rubber wants to like kind of snag and catch and hang on stuff, whereas this doesn't. This is plastic line, nylon, whatever you want to call it. It's plastic, and it doesn't want to do all of that. It just wants to slide. So anyway, I've got a T right here. I think I can use this to tee into that, and we'll go from there. Okay. Alrighty. Why don't you just watch me here for just a minute. I know this has vacuum on it most all the time, or all the time. Let's see. I have that might work. All right, so I'm just going to use this tee. I'm going to take this tape off right here and get that off and get it out of the way. It's just electrical tape, that's all it is. That's all I use to tape this to the dipstick. Okay, there we go, got that off. And I've got some rubber hose here, vacuum hose. It fits tight on there. I just don't know if it's going to fit over this. I don't think it will. I think I'll probably have to step up. which is okay. It's all right if I have to step up just a little bit. Alrighty. So, I'll get. Can I get this over there? Have a little patience, you can, and some force. So anyway, there we go. I got that done. All right. Okay. So now, whenever I start the engine, I should have vacuum on the other end of this line that's in the cab there. And so, take my spaghetti mess of old vacuum hoses, go inside the cab. See, the AC unit, control unit in there is not getting any vacuum. So what I got to do is I got to plumb vacuum to it. Now I can't get, well, I cannot get the dash out without destroying it. Let's just say that. So I wanted to get the dash out, but I don't want to absolutely just obliterate it into pieces. So I've got to figure out a way to do it without, making a total disaster of it. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to run the vacuum hoses over. Okay. Now that, let's go over here to the other side. Okay. Alright, so yeah. I'm just going to have that lay underneath that mat, this insulating mat. Have the line lay under that. I don't think there'll be any problems with that. Okay, so there's my vacuum line right there. I'm probably going to go ahead and bolt the dash back in and start getting that all squared away, because need to go ahead and do that. Don't need to have it loose anymore, but I'm also going to get me some JB Weld or maybe some super glue and glue some of these areas back together if I can. Alrighty, I'm going to pause this and I'll be right back. I tell you what, y'all, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to end this video. It's almost 20 minutes, so by the time I get it done, it'll be 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and end this, and then I'm going to come back and with a part 2. I do appreciate you all very much watching the videos, subscribing, and the likes and the shares. I really, really thank you for that. All right. Also, a word about the previous video about Steve Mignotti. I will not be monetizing that video. I don't really see that's. I don't like the thought of that. I feel like something like that I'm trying to do that to gain him, to help him out. Okay? So Again, thank you very much. God bless. Have a great one.